Hi everyone, I'm Matt Renkema, the Grain Business Manager for Soybeans International. I'm with Natalie Hazeleger, the Quality Assurance Manager for Soybeans International, and we are here to discuss best harvest practices for food-grade soybeans. So Natalie, it's September, harvest is just around the corner. What should a grower of food-grade soybeans be doing to prepare for harvest?
So at this point, I would suggest that growers take a good look at their field. Some of the issues that could cause contamination in the field are some of the main things you want to be looking for at this stage. So that would be if there's any volunteer corn that you haven't removed previously, or really especially bad weedy areas. So you may want to consider, and you can get the advice from some of our Savita staff as to whether you need a pre-harvest burn down or whether you could maybe manage some of that weed area by just combining those separately at the end. The other thing that you want to make sure that you're ready for is that you have all of your equipment ready to go and cleaned out. That's one of the main requirements for growing food-grade soybeans, is that you've cleaned out between your regular commodity crops. So your combine needs to be cleaned out. Any of your conveyance or transferring equipment needs to have a really good clean. That includes your buggy, any wagons or trucks or trailers, whatever you're going to use to put those soybeans through needs to be cleaned before any food-grade soybeans goes into it. The other part is if you're storing on farm, you want to make sure that your bin is ready. That means that it's fully cleaned out. You've checked, behind the doors, the distributor, the little ledges, everything gets clean. And then the other thing we would recommend is to put a little bit of diatomaceous earth in the bottom of the first load or so when you start to put your beans into the bin.
It's important to remember that our customers are making food products. Cleaning out of equipment and storage is important to avoid any GM contamination from previous crops harvested or stored. And ensuring that the fields are clean is important to ensure that the soybeans are clean and the product that's coming off the field is of the highest quality.
So once it's time to harvest, you need to be careful as to when you start combining. So just because your beans are at the right moisture level, you want to make sure that the dew has lifted before you get into the field. That little bit of dew on the beans can cause a lot of staining, and that's quickly can ruin a load of soybeans for you. So make sure that you start late enough in the day that there's no dew, and then at the same end, at the end of the day, you have to make sure that you stop once that dew starts to settle in so that you're not staining. All right, the other last part that I would suggest as you're combining is to make sure that you're monitoring your combine settings. The moisture of beans changes throughout the day, and that means that the setting that you set when you started in the late morning or early afternoon may not be the right setting for when the beans have dropped a point or two in moisture. So continue to check the settings, make sure you're minimizing any splits that you're getting through the combine, and also look for cracked seed coats or any other mechanical damage that you might be causing from your combine, and see if there's any tweaking you can do to minimize that damage.
Our end users prefer Canadian soybeans because of the superior quality that we can offer. Problems with staining can cause the tofu or the soy milk to have a grayish off color, whereas if a natto soybean is split or seed coat is not intact, it can cause major issues in the natto factory. It's extremely important that the growers understand that what they are growing is a food product that is different than the commodity soybean that they're growing in the next field. Savita is proud to represent Canadian soybeans in the global soy food market. Please talk to your local Savita rep to discuss more about the food grade practices and producer guidelines.
Thanks, Matt and Natalie, for explaining a little bit more on how growers can ensure a successful harvest. Savita offers many guidelines and tips to growers new to IP production, and we are always happy to help as well as answer any questions you may have. Remember that the first step to a good harvest is the right variety. There's still time to visit a plot before harvest, and I would be happy to show you some of the exciting varieties Savita has to offer.